This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Dell Inspiron Chromebook 11. It's been a while since we reviewed a Chromebook, and with the Inspiron name, usually with Dell, that's their consumer line that sits right below the XPS. It's kind of nice. You get a metal casing, you get pretty nice stuff. So I thought the Inspiron Chromebook would probably be one of your nice mid-rangers. Well, not so much. This harkens back to the bad old days of the early Chromebooks, for better and for worse. Actually, there is some good points. It has an extremely, no kidding, plasticky build. But the good part is these kind of plastics are also very durable and very kid-friendly. It bends, it doesn't crack, it doesn't break, that sort of thing. It's not particularly light, but Chromebooks often aren't despite the small footprint. You know, we're talking 3.08 pounds or 1.4 kilograms, so yeah, it's a little bit hefty. It has a TN panel. It's 1366 by 768, so it's a 720p matte non-touch panel on this model. And yeah, it's eye strain inducing. This is something you probably wouldn't want to do to your kids, but that's probably the market for this at $189. It's for schools on a budget who can buy a bunch of these and deploy them for their kids. Now, it's also an upsell for the Dell Inspiron 11 2-in-1 model, which has an IPS display, which is much nicer looking, much better on the eyes, and also has a touchscreen, which has become quite important because now Chromebooks can run Android applications, but Android is a touchscreen operating system, so a lot of programs won't run so well. For example, we tried PUBG just for fun to see how the performance would be, but it says, no, we don't support the mouse and the keyboard, thank you very much. He launched Evernote, and it never got past the login screen. So you definitely want to go to the 2-in-1 version, even if you don't ever intend to use it as a convertible. We're going to look at the rest of it now. So yeah, it's a Chromebook. You have to be okay with Chrome OS, which means spending your life living in a web browser. Basically, it's an operating system based on the Chrome web browser. If you can do it in a web browser, you can do it on a Chromebook for the most part, unless you need certain plugins or that sort of thing. But you get the idea. Google Docs, sure, Google Photos, any web-based emails, that sort of stuff, surfing the web, streaming video, it can do all of these things. Now, like I said, you really want to get that 2-in-1 model just to get the touchscreen and the better quality display, because if you want to run Android apps, which is a thing now, you can do that, although the stability and guarantee that your app is going to work, not always, for sure, but you want the touchscreen, so Android apps will run properly. The drawback is, yes, you can run Android on Chromebooks, which certainly expands the usefulness of the product beyond just anything you can do in a Chrome web browser, but the bad part is still with Android, you know the tablet story, there really aren't many apps that are optimized for big screens. So you're still looking sometimes at phone interfaces blown up big. Oh well. In terms of hardware, given the $189 price tag, don't expect too much. You have an Intel Celeron processor, you have 4 gigs of RAM inside, and your choice of 16 or 32 gigs of storage, because typically, you're not going to install a whole lot of probably programs on this, and you do have a micro SD card that you can put documents on and that sort of thing. With Chrome products, particularly ones where you're just mostly relying on the Chrome OS features and not on Android apps, you pretty much need a persistent online connection because, well, duh. So this does have good dual-band Wi-Fi 802.11 AC, and it's 2x2 antenna because wireless connectivity is obviously incredibly important to Chromebooks. For ports, you have pretty much the standard selection that you would see on a Chromebook. You've got 2 USB-A ports, so you can use peripherals if you want to use a mouse, for example. You have Bluetooth for that, too. You can use Bluetooth peripherals with this. And you've got an HDMI port in case you want to plug this into a bigger monitor or a projector, that sort of thing. And again, that micro SD card slot. It's pretty much par for the course there. You can open this up and get inside, but there's really not much you can do because everything is soldered to the motherboard. The only thing you really would be doing is servicing that battery. It's a 42 watt-hour battery, which is a pretty ample-sized battery. We've seen 13-inch Ultrabooks with quad-core CPUs that have that same battery. So I would expect battery life to be pretty good on this. However, it hasn't been so fantastic. For our configuration, Dell claims around 10 hours of use time, and it does charge quickly at least. It comes with the 60-watt traditional laptop-style charger. But runtimes, perhaps because the screen is so dim that we have to run it at about 80% brightness or higher to make it really usable, even indoors, I've been getting about 6 hours, which for a Chromebook is meh. But for $189, again, how much can you ask for, I suppose? You know, it's not a Google Pixel product or something like that where you're going to get a whole lot fancier hardware and spend a whole lot of crazy money either. There is an argument to be made for Chromebooks not really being worth a huge investment because they have a very specific use case that is low maintenance, which is still very nice. It's pretty hard to screw one up software-wise, for example, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on it. Yeah. Still, the mid-range ones are still the sweet spot. They might cost you $300 or something like that, but you're going to get a better display and all that sort of thing. The keyboard is okay. It's 11.6 inches, so it has that netbooky kind of feel. There's not a lot of key travel on it. It's passable, and for probably its intended market, which is little kids in school, the keys are probably the right size, actually. The trackpad's decent on it. So that's the Dell Inspiron Chromebook 11. So yes, you can still get a sub $200 Chromebook, but no, you probably shouldn't do it. Like I said, the fact that it's heavy, okay, I can live with that. That's not so unusual. The battery life is okay, but it's not stellar. And one of the things Chromebooks are usually good at is battery life. If you get this matte, non-touch display, forget running most Android applications well. They really are designed for touchscreen. The display quality, not so good on this. So the two-in-one model for $265 versus $189, yeah, I would do that. But generally speaking, you're still going to want to spend more than $200 to get a decent machine, even if it's running Chrome OS. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.